All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're cracking open the latest Indian economic survey. We're going to see how one of the world's fastest growing economies isn't just surviving, it's actually thriving, even with all the chaos happening globally. So, let's get into it. Okay, so first things first, we've got to set the stage. And let me tell you, the global economy right now, it's, it's not a calm sea. It's more like a full-blown storm. And that makes India's story even more incredible. And the challenges out there are huge. I mean, we're living in a world where geopolitics is calling the shots, not just economics. You've got this growing suspicion around free trade, which leads to tighter controls on technology. At the same time, governments everywhere are piling up debt. And all of this creates this massive scramble for essential resources like energy and minerals. It's a tough environment, for sure. But amidst all that global gloom and doom, here's the anchor. The survey is projecting India's economy to grow somewhere between 6.8 and 7.2%. Now, this isn't just good growth, this is the fastest growth among all major economies. It makes India this one shining bright spot on what's otherwise a pretty gloomy global map. So, naturally, the big question is how, right? How is India pulling this off? How is it staying so stable and growing so fast when everyone else is struggling? Well, the survey points to three really strong pillars that are basically holding up the entire economic structure. Let's break them down one by one. Okay, pillar number one. This is all about smart government spending, how the government is handling its own money. And it's really a story of discipline, strategic investment, and way more transparency. And that last part, it's been a total game changer. So, how are they doing it? Well, it's not just one thing. The government is bringing in more stable revenue through direct taxes, which is great. And at the same time, it's cutting down its deficit. Kind of like how you'd manage a household budget. But here's the crucial part. They're not cutting back on important investments. In fact, capital expenditure, that's the long-term spending on things like roads, ports, all that good stuff, is actually way up. And this smart management, it's getting noticed. It's even earned India a credit rating upgrade. All right, on to pillar number two, a stable monetary policy. You see, you just can't have a strong economy without a really healthy banking sector and strong markets to pour fuel on the fire of investment and growth. And honestly, the results here really do speak for themselves. That old problem of bad loans in Indian banks, they're now at a historic low. This means banks are healthier, and they're lending more money, especially to the small and medium businesses that are the real backbone of the economy. Throw in a strong stock market, and more people getting access to things like insurance and pensions. And what you have is this really solid foundation of financial security for everyone. Pillar number three is all about India's connection to the rest of the world. In an age where everyone's a bit suspicious of trade, India has actually managed to strengthen its position on the global stage. It's turned what could be a weakness into a real strength. And this is where you can see India's modern economy just shine. While global trade in, physical stuff is facing a lot of hurdles, India's export of services, think IT support, business consulting, is absolutely booming. The country is also managing its trade balance really well, keeping its current account deficit, which is basically the difference between money flowing in and money flowing out, super low. And get this for a headline stat. Between 2020 and 2024, India became the #1 destination for new digital foreign direct investment. That's foreign companies building brand new projects from scratch. It's a massive vote of confidence from the rest of the world. And here's what all that stability gets you. Look at this number. Inflation, that hidden tax that eats away at your wallet, is at a historic low of just 1.7%. This is so important because it means that all this economic growth isn't just some number on a spreadsheet. It's real growth that isn't being gobbled up by rising prices. It protects people's ability to actually buy things. Okay, so we've got the stable foundation locked in. Now, let's look at the engines that are actually driving all this growth. The key sectors that are creating jobs, wealth, and opportunity all across the country. This chart gives us the perfect snapshot of the economy. The services sector, you can see, is the big, dominant force here, the largest piece of the pie. But what's really exciting is that growing momentum you see in industry and manufacturing. And all the while, agriculture is continuing to modernize and branch out. It's a really balanced picture. Yeah, the services sector is truly India's global calling card.
It's the biggest source of jobs in the cities and the #1 contributor to GDP. And we're seeing crazy fast growth, not just in the usual suspect, IT, but also in areas like tourism and real estate. Plus, its exports are growing faster than the global average. It's a real powerhouse. But here's what I find really exciting: the comeback story happening in manufacturing. There's this renewed energy with really strong performance in everything from old school steel and cars to cutting edge stuff like electric vehicles and electronics. And what's fueling all this innovation? A startup scene that is now ranked in the top 3 in the entire world. That's huge.
So all these big numbers, all these sector trends, what does it all mean? That's the most important question, right? What does this growth actually mean for the average person? How is it changing lives on the ground? Well, this number right here, it says almost everything. The level of extreme poverty in India has dropped to just over 5%. I mean, this is probably the single most important result of all this economic growth, lifting millions and millions of people into a better life. And this isn't just about one thing. The progress is happening across the board. You've got more people joining the workforce, and it's especially great to see a big rise in the number of women working. Huge infrastructure projects are connecting the country like never before, bringing basics like clean water to rural homes. And those long-term investments in health and education, they're paying off. People are living longer, and kids are getting a better start with improved learning. Now, the survey doesn't just look in the rearview mirror. It also looks forward, laying out a clear roadmap for how India plans to build on all this success and get ready for the challenges of the future. This timeline really shows you that there's a clear plan in place. You see immediate reforms happening right now to labor and financial markets. There's a sharp focus on the technologies of the future, like artificial intelligence and energy storage. And then there's the big, long-term, ambitious goal for clean energy, aiming for a massive increase in nuclear power by 2047. It's a vision for the short, medium, and long term. And this quote, which is pulled directly from the survey, is so telling. Data is considered a strategic resource. This signals a huge shift in thinking. In India's future economic strategy, data isn't just something that businesses produce. No, it's a core strategic asset, just as important as steel or electricity. And that really brings us to our final thought. The economic survey paints this powerful picture of a country that has built an incredibly solid, resilient foundation, all while a storm rages in the global economy. The ambitions, as we've seen, are huge. So the real question is, can this incredible momentum be maintained? Can India turn today's potential into tomorrow's reality? That's what we'll all be watching. Thanks for joining me for this breakdown.